Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Google Analytics Summit. Please welcome the Vice President of Engineering, Google Analytics, Paul Murray.
Welcome. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 2013 Google Analytics Summit. We're incredibly excited to be here. We have such amazing partners and customers out there every day. It's amazing to see all of you here with us. I'm incredibly excited to have you. We have people here from over 47 countries. If we can show, there we go, which is incredible. We have people from all over the world. Thank you for taking the time and energy to travel all the way here with us and be with us here for the summit. This event is an opportunity for us to show off some of the latest things we've been working on, as well as hear from you and get your input on our ideas and our roadmaps, and that's incredibly important to us. So thank you very much for being here today. We're very excited to have you. I also want to welcome everyone who's tuning in via our live stream. This is the first year we've done a live stream event, which I'm really excited about, for this morning's talks. And this allows us to extend this conference to so many more people all around the world. So thank you, and for everyone tuning in via the live stream, and welcome to our summit. And welcome back to the Computer History Museum here, and this look amazing. We've got a packed agenda for the next 2 days, and it's going to be really exciting and a lot of fun. All of the talks today will be here in the main auditorium, and then tomorrow we'll start here in the main auditorium, and then we'll split into 2 tracks, and we'll guide you where to go at that point for those tracks. In addition to all the talks, we've got some great demo stations set up out in the gallery here. So be sure to check out during the breaks those demo stations. We've got engineers and product managers there to show you some of the latest features and get your ideas into our products. So welcome to the conference. We've got a hashtag set up here, GA Summit, to track announcements throughout the day. And our G+ and Twitter information is here on the screen. So with that, let's get started. Now, before we jump into looking at some new features and functionality in the product, I want to spend a few minutes and talk about this idea, the data-driven opportunity, and the themes of the conference. It's easy to get all caught up in the latest tools and techniques and lose sight of the big picture and why all this matters. Because the reality is that companies all over the world are using Google Analytics and data to drive creativity, innovation, and smarter business decisions, and it's having a huge impact on their bottom lines and their future success. So I want to spend a few minutes. We'll talk about this idea, these themes. We'll take a look at some of the components. We'll look at some examples and create more clarity on what we mean by this. Now, our story starts a long time ago. So bear with me for 1 sec. Like many of you, my grandparents grew up in the early 1900s. They saw the invention of radio and television and raised a family during the Great Depression. This picture is from 1900. This is our great-grandfather building their farmhouse in Kansas. It's kind of amazing. You can see in the picture, it's sort of hard to see, but you can see in the picture, they're actually cutting down trees, taking the logs, milling them into boards, in order to build their house on site here. Back then, there was no Home Depot down the road. There was no lumber yard nearby. You had to do everything yourself, literally starting with cutting down a tree. And this is a long time ago, right? But in many ways, it wasn't that long ago. These are just our grandparents and great-grandparents we're talking about. It wasn't long ago that we were them. In 1900, 36% of Americans worked on farms, doing it all themselves. Today, that number is only 3%. Because by the early 20th century, the industrial age was in full swing, building on the momentum of the steel industry and the steam engine, and accelerating with energy production, and of course, the automobile and assembly lines. Instead of doing everything from the ground up, these innovations allowed workers to now focus on just a few tasks, giving us incredible scale of production and efficiency in our new factories. And this had a big shift on the economy, from agriculture towards manufacturing and production, and a shift on the workforce, right? People moving into urban centers and joining this labor force. Now, back then, workers were primarily doers and not necessarily creative thinkers. Now, that begins to change with the invention of the computer and the dawn of the information age. Many of the devices on display downstairs here in the Computer History Museum were responsible for the increasing use of robotic production in our factories. And so instead of workers using tools and machines to efficiently produce, we began coding the machines to do the work in a more automated fashion, giving us a whole new scale of production and efficiency. To the point, by the end of the 20th century, we see the emergence of a global economy, increase in competition and accessibility everywhere, and a corresponding shift, again, in our economy from manufacturing and production towards innovation, creativity, and ideas. And it starts to become more important for the people in our organization to be creative thinkers and innovators. Now, that brings us to today, these last decade plus years here in the digital age. And we have seen an incredible acceleration of technology in these last few years. The combination of the growth of the internet, communication networks, and more powerful devices, especially the mobile devices. The phone in your pocket, this device is an order of magnitude 15 times more powerful than the first Cray supercomputer on display downstairs. And think of the manufacturing cost of this device. It's kind of incredible how much power there is for that cost. The combination of these inventions and the internet and the connectivity that the internet has brought has changed everything. It's put the world on a new trajectory, accelerating everything, causing disruptions and opportunities in every market. We live in this amazing global economy, and it's incredibly important that we now invent and innovate to be ahead of our competition. In fact, I believe that the value that your businesses create in today's digital age is a direct reflection of the ability of the people in your organization to be able to create and invent and not just produce. I'm incredibly excited about Google Analytics and the data-driven opportunity we're talking about, and we'll look at some more details in a second. But in the end, I really think that this opportunity is very much a people opportunity, empowering the people in your organization to be able to succeed. It's been 100 plus years of amazing technology development through all of these ages. But we have seen an incredible acceleration these last few years, and it's having a huge impact on what we do and what it means to be successful as a business. And so we want to make sure that we're empowering the people in our organization to succeed. Now, during the same time, we've seen another incredible shift that affects everyone in this room, including Google, and that's the change in consumer behavior. Consumers are now constantly connected. They're always on. And this is changing everything. Check out some of these numbers. Just in the last 3 years, we have seen amazing changes. We now have 2.7 billion internet users online, up from 1.5 billion just 3 years ago. And that number's not slowing down. 4 billion videos are watched on YouTube every single day, 4 times as many as just 3 years ago. Mobile consumption up 5-fold in the US and even higher in developing countries. E-commerce at the end of 2012 is now at 224 billion, double what it was just a couple years before. This is just in the last 3 years. It's so easy to feel comfortable with, oh, we understand this technology now, right? It's the web and it's online, there's mobile, it's all good. It is changing incredibly fast to the point where the consumer of today bears fewer and fewer resemblances to the consumer we once knew. Just a few years ago, our customers would walk into our brick and mortar stores and they would do their research and make their purchase decisions. Back then, we could use classic marketing funnel theory. We could drive brand awareness and consideration. position the brand, and drive eventual purchases. Back then, it was much easier to have a clear picture of who our customers are. We could see them. We could see what they looked like and what they were looking at. Were they alone, or were they dragging their kids behind? Were they in a hurry? Were they nicely dressed? Were they happy? Were they upset? There was so much information there. Back then, it was much easier to have an intuitive understanding of our customers and therefore of our business itself. Now, that has all changed. In today's digital age, our customers are doing their research and their purchase decisions online. And so this is creating huge blind spots for us. It's as if the stores that we're looking at are now empty. And we're left with these little bits of data, right? Cookies and URLs and JavaScript events, log files. How can we possibly make intuitive business decisions without understanding who our customers are? And so we're incredibly excited about Google Analytics and this conference, because in the end, I think one of the key things we're trying to do here is help you put back together a picture of your customers. And in this amazing global economy that we're seeing, this is incredibly important for the future success of our organizations to understand and have an intuitive understanding of our customers. So I will now introduce 3 themes of the conference. And these themes are really important because they help us, I think, understand how to take this idea, this opportunity, and put it into action. How do we leverage this idea? And the 3 themes are access, empower, and act. And you'll see them all over the place. And they're going to be throughout the conference. And I think they're really important. So let me go through these here. The first theme is access, connecting the right data to the right people. Now, this seems like a very basic step, very simple, right? But this is non-trivial. Think of the complexities of tagging, pulling all your different data sources together. Do you have your online and offline data connected? Is your social connected to your e-commerce? There's so many things that make this complex. We felt that this is important to have this be the first theme. And you'll see many of the products and technologies we're building, like Google Tag Manager and Universal Analytics, are directly designed to help with this process, measuring the right data and bringing it together to make it accessible. Now, there's another part of access that's really important, which is bring this data now to the right people in the organization. And I'd ask the question, which is, who are the right people? Given this incredible competitive global economy, I strongly believe the right people is your entire organization, everyone. We need to make our products easy to use, fast, and accessible by everyone in your organization to take advantage of these opportunities. The second theme is empower. Now, we can take the people and throw them into the deep end and say, there's all the data, go for it. But think of techniques like attribution modeling. It's a complex idea, requires good techniques, modeling tools, visualizations, right? We need to have these tools and techniques and bring those to the people in the organization so they're empowered and can get on with their analysis and decision making. So simply getting the data together is not good enough. We need to empower the people in your organization to be able to analyze that data. And our third theme is act. If we don't take action, what good is it, right? We need to be able to use the data and take action. Now, there's 2 types of action that I'd like to touch on. The first kind of action that we see very often is what I'd call aggregate action, where you have you do an analysis of data over time or something, and you come up with an aggregate decision, and you take action based on that. For example, let's say you have offer A and offer B, and you're testing these out. And you find out that offer A, has a higher conversion rate. So you kill offer B, go with offer A, and you see immediate returns on your conversion rates. All good. That's an aggregate type action that we're doing. And that's very important, and many of the opportunities we'll see are these types of aggregate actions. But there's another kind of action here, which is automated action. Often there are opportunities to take the data and put it back into action and help make some of these decisions on a case-by-case basis. Inside these aggregate numbers, we may have pockets of users that behave differently. They may be more likely to convert, or there's different themes they are interested in. There may be an opportunity to show some people offer B and actually get even a higher return. And so that's what I mean about automated action, and that can be very powerful as well. So we have these three themes: access, bringing the right data to the right people; empower, bringing the right tools and techniques so that people can really use this stuff; and of course, act. And the three build together and are the themes of the conference, and really a great framework for thinking about this. Now, to make this really precise, I was thinking about this like, okay, we have this framework. We can now ask ourselves the question, what can I do with this? What can I do with this framework? Now, every business is going to be different, and you'll have opportunities in many different directions. But almost every marketing organization will have three key areas of impact that I think will be really, really good opportunities. And these won't be a surprise. The first one is budgets and bids. We have the ability to change how we invest our money, right? We can decide to move money from search to display, or invest more in YouTube, or change some other investment. We have the ability to change what we invest in. And that can have a big impact, and there's opportunities to do this kind of media planning. Second impact area, which everyone is familiar with, is optimizing campaigns. So once we decide where we're investing, there's almost always really great opportunities to optimize the campaigns themselves. The keyword lists, if it's search marketing, are you doing geo-targeting or time of day? There's so many things you can do there to optimize those things. And the third area, user experience. I don't want us to forget about user experience. Once we spend all this money and drive all this great traffic, let's make sure we also are looking at what are we showing them? What is the actual engagement that we're trying to create with our users? There are often very powerful ways of changing what it is we do when it comes to user experience. Now, if we take these three impact areas, we line them up with the framework that we were talking about, it creates what I would call an opportunity matrix, right? A way of thinking about these two things together. We have our impact areas on the left, budgets and bids, campaigns, and user experience. And then the process that we talked about on the top, I've put access and empower together here because I really feel like these are the prerequisites for us to see these opportunities and the returns. We need to make sure we have the right data. We need to make sure we have the tools and we've connected that all to the right people. That's the prerequisite for actually seeing these opportunities. Now, once we have those things done, then certainly there will be opportunities to analyze and make aggregate decisions across these three dimensions, and you will see returns on those. And then there also may be opportunities to automate the way we're using data and get additional returns. So this is an opportunity matrix that hopefully creates more clarity here. Now, let's hold this idea in our heads for a second. I want to show some examples to really drive this home that I think are a lot of fun and exciting. My first example comes from Barbara Pezzi from Fairmont Hotels. So Fairmont Hotels is a luxury brand of hotels. They have amazing locations all around the world, including here in San Francisco and San Jose. How many people have stayed at a Fairmont hotel? A lot of people? They're really nice, right? Really nice hotels. Barbara is their director of analytics and SEO. And actually, many of you may know her. She is a digital marketing evangelist herself and a really great speaker. And she's doing an amazing job bringing data into her organization. Now, this example is interesting as it starts to look at some of the basics that are needed in order to properly measure different marketing channels and some of the challenges we face, both technically and organizationally. So let's take a look at what Barbara has to say.
We have approximately 100 hotels spread across the globe. So from an analytics perspective or a marketing perspective, it becomes quite challenging because every property is so unique. Once social media became mainstream, there was all sorts of new tools coming out on the market that were promising to help you understand who these people were and managing your social activities effectively. But I didn't like any of them. The metrics were really lame. Number of likes, number of retweets, that didn't really tell us anything. I wanted to understand if we were attracting different audiences and also what these audiences were doing once they landed on our websites. So I decided to install Google Analytics. The big surprise for us was to see that some countries seemed to favour Facebook, while other countries seemed to favour Twitter. At the same time, the content consumed was very different. My social media colleagues were able to tailor their messaging much better, were able to deliver content that their audiences appreciated. The outcome of that was a doubling of our traffic, was a doubling of our bookings and our revenue. We also used the data to convert the non-believers, people that said that social media was a fad, that it didn't really bring us anything. We could actually show them how many times these people interacted with us, how many times they came back to the websites, how many times they ended up booking, and it was a big revelation for everyone.
Isn't Barbara amazing? I love how practical she is when she brings data into her company. Now this example is awesome. They were able to double their bookings through social after 1 year of optimization. And it started with really looking at the data access itself. And before this optimization, their social data was locked up in silos in the social networks. They were only looking at retweets and likes. It wasn't connected to downstream activity. So the first step was to get all of the campaign stuff they're doing through social properly tagged and measured and connected to on-site engagement and eventually bookings. Now, given Fairmont is a global organization operating in many countries in multiple languages all over the world, this is a non-trivial task and took quite an effort within her organization to organize that and make sure that there was a process and plan for getting all these campaign tags set up properly. Once they were able to connect that data to all the people working in their social channel, they were able to see this amazing opportunity and the results of doubling this over time. Really great story, and highlighting the power of Access and Power Act, especially this access part. A quick question for you, if you're paying attention, what else did Barbara and team learn during this process of optimization? What else do you think their team learned? Someone's got an answer. Come on, someone blurted it out. What else did they learn? Go ahead.
Different countries have different preferences for social media and what they prefer.
Exactly. Different countries had different preferences for social media. It turned out they were learning that the world was very different, right? Every country and region was unique. They were using different social networks, and the themes and incentives and other ideas that worked in one place didn't work in another. It was an amazing revelation for them to realize we can't just move forward with a homogeneous social strategy. We need to be able to map what it is we're doing to match the realities of the segmentation that they saw in their market. And anytime we can match up what we're doing with what our customers are doing, that's always incredibly powerful. And that was a key insight for them during this process. So let me move on to a second example. This example really was looking at campaign dynamics. Now I want to move back up to budgets and bids, and we'll take a look at Baby Supermall. It's a really fun company out of Chicago. Joe Mayer is their VP of Business Development and oversees their marketing expenditures here. And an interesting thing about this example is the challenge in understanding the full customer journey. Let's take a look at what Joe has to say.
Baby Supermall sells a wide variety of baby products, but our biggest offering and what our ads are focused on is crib bedding. The biggest challenge for us is the extremely long buying cycle. Our typical customer is a pregnant mother-to-be. They have months to make a decision. We went through a period where we were reducing our advertising spend because we knew we were being inefficient in places. And it's all because we didn't know what we were doing wrong. And I spent weeks developing a spreadsheet to deal with it. I decided it was so complicated that I was only going to use it every quarter. So it almost made you reluctant to add advertising sources because at the end of the quarter, you knew you were going to have to make this spreadsheet that was already 80 megabytes. When Google finally released a tool that let me replace it, this is groundbreaking. Attribution modeling changes everything. Okay, here's your model, here's last click, here's time decay. Now, okay, who cares if they clicked on the baby Super Bowl ad last? I can see that before that, they searched for elephant bedding, and before that, they searched for baby bedding, and maybe in between, they searched for boy baby bedding. They had their ultrasound, they figured out what gender they're supposed to be looking for. So now I know what is the path that led to us. I estimated last year that we probably spent an extra $5,000 on AdWords every week solely because of this. And those $5,000 a week were bringing us tens of thousands of dollars in additional sales every week that we might not have had otherwise. We're spending our money more efficiently than we were before. We know what we're getting for it. And attribution modeling let us have time to ask more questions. It's not like we're done, we've run out of questions and all of our problems are solved. We just have time to focus on even harder questions. But we have better tools to help us focus on them.
So Joe is awesome. This company is a lot of fun. These crib bedding sets, they're like these full themes that have the bumpers that go around the sides of the cribs. They have the mobiles hanging down. They have stickers that go on the wall. They even send you paint samples so you can do your whole nursery. It's really a lot of fun. And this is an amazing example. These guys have a 9-month sales cycle. Imagine a 9-month sales cycle and the types of decisions that people are going through during that process, right? And previously, looking at last click, they were really struggling to understand how to interpret this data. So they really needed these new tools and models in place. And at first, Joe had, built these amazing, complicated spreadsheets, started using Google's multi-channel funnels and then attribution to help them understand this full customer journey. And the result was they were able to see what was actually working upper funnel versus lower funnel and properly shift their investments to make sure that they were investing throughout the entire process. And the result was amazing. They were able to expand their search online business by 35% while holding their cost per acquisition the same. They kept their CPA flat and expanded the business by 35%, and that's huge. It was a lot of fun. It was about a year and a half ago when I first met Joe out in Chicago at their location, and it was fun looking over his shoulder, seeing this crazy spreadsheet he had put together. And we hadn't quite launched attribution modeling yet. I remember looking over his shoulder and thinking, wow, I could have saved you a lot of time while you were doing that. But it was really amazing. These guys are incredible. I think actually Joe is tuned in via our live stream. So Joe, thank you very much for sharing your story with us. And we're excited to be able to help you in your business. Actually, anybody here expecting a baby in the next little while? Okay, Joe, we got 2 customers for you out here in the audience. So go with that. So a great example of the power of access, empower, and act. And in this case, really around the empower side of showing like we need the right tools and techniques in order to analyze the data and then making these aggregate decisions for our investments. And we're going to have a whole session later this afternoon on attribution modeling. It's going to be a big topic for us, so we'll go into this in much more depth. Now our third story, our third example here is a company called Twitty. Twitty provides high-end vacation rentals on the eastern seaboard of the US. These are these amazing homes right on the beach where families rent for a month in the summer and build these amazing summer vacations. They're really incredible. North Carolina, just beautiful, beautiful. And so this is a family-run business. Ross Twitty is their director of marketing. And this example is interesting because it takes us past the aggregate analysis and starts to look at automation, which I think is interesting, and also looks at user experience. So let's take a look at what Ross is doing.
So Twitty is a family-owned business on the Outer Banks, operating since 1978. There is no commodity of vacations. What Twitty offers is an experience to the guests. This is very complicated, so we think, because it's very emotional. It involves mom, dad, the kids, and maybe 25 people, all talking about where they want to go. We know there's an enormous amount of people looking for vacation rentals right now, and a small fraction of that actually books. So what's the disparity between a large amount of traffic, small amount of bookings? We had this idea, can we create a sense of urgency? This is something we've always wanted to do. Because if people are looking to book a vacation and we can prove there's some scarcity to it, would it influence them to book earlier or actually influence them to book? And it turned out it did. Google Analytics gave me the tools to test out a theory or an idea. We presented through a simple widget, and it's just something at the bottom of the screen that shows how many people are looking at a certain page. So your family is looking for a vacation, and I gently remind you that there's 10 other people right now looking for that same vacation. And we saw that influence, so people started booking more often, or they started booking higher values. It was the blinding flash of the obvious. Hey, this is a call to action, it is a sense of urgency. It was the eureka moment. Real-time API allows me, the common user, to have an idea, implement, test, and see if it's working, and integrate it with a language or a data set I understand. Be able to test an idea and say, if we thought this, can we prove it? And then within a short amount of time, you can prove it. And then that changes the way you do marketing. I probably would get a tattoo of Google Analytics if my wife would let me.
Yeah. I assume nobody has a tattoo of Google Analytics just yet. So I never actually know, it's funny, I never actually know when I talk to Ross, was he joking or was he serious? Like, I'm not totally sure about that. But hopefully his wife won't be upset at us. And, great company, really interesting business. They were looking at optimizing their conversions and the actual on-site engagement. And they had this really amazing insight, which was normally when we go into a store to do shopping online, we're alone, or at least we think we're alone. When the reality is there's people all around us to the sides of us in the store, we just can't see them in this online arena. And this is really interesting. So they realized that, hey, we have these properties that are scarce that as soon as they're booked for a week or a month, they're gone. They're unique properties. And so they wanted to give both users an idea of which were the most popular and create a little bit of competition and sense of urgency by showing them how many other people were looking at this right now. It seems very straightforward. They took our real-time API, pulled data out of analytics, put it back into their content serving system to serve this in real time, dynamically for all their users. And the result has been awesome. It's been a 7% lift in conversion rate, and that's in the off season. We're really excited to see how this performs come January through March, when that's the highest season for them, when families are really setting up their summer bookings. And we'll definitely update, maybe on our blog, we can do an update once we understand what the real impact of this case study was. I think it's incredibly interesting. So really great stuff. Now this also highlights the power of the automation side on the action side, and we talked about the theme of optimizing our content. Now another thing I wanted to point out with Twitty that was interesting was during this process, they also were learning that the decision-making process for these rentals are often a family decision process. They see people, the parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles and kids all weighing in and looking and researching in order to make this decision. And that creates some complexities, as you can imagine, and some opportunities. And so when Ross was here a couple weeks ago, we were brainstorming about this idea to see, can we actually align what the user experiences on their site to more properly facilitate this cross-family decision process. So they have some ideas that we're going to look at now, and again, we'll do some updates on this example later in the year. But a really great company, and we're really excited to see Ross and team. So those were 3 examples that hopefully were a lot of fun and insightful to you, and they highlight the power of this framework. And we looked at some examples around budgets and campaigns and user experience. We saw the importance of access and empower. And we saw both decisions in aggregate decisions and putting data back into practice and making actions happen more dynamically. Now, this is great. I like to call this the direct opportunity. These are direct opportunities that every business has that will give you direct returns. But there's a larger story going on here. If you noticed, what was Barbara learning during the social optimizations? What was Joe learning about their long sales cycle and the refinement of decision making during a purchase? What was Ross learning about families making decisions for a vacation? As part of this process, they're getting amazing insights into their customers, right? And this is huge. It doesn't happen automatically. I believe that really it's the process of going through these optimizations that gives us these insights. And basically what we're doing, if you remember at the beginning, is we're taking this blind spots and we're putting back together a bit by bit a picture of who our customers are and how they engage with us and what they want to do. This is incredibly powerful. We live in this amazing, super fast technology world, digital age. It's just incredible. It's super competitive too. It's a global economy. And the winners are about creativity and innovation. And we need to empower the people in our teams and our organizations to be able to succeed. And part of that will give us direct returns. The data opportunity here is going to give us direct returns. But as part of that process, we're going to bring your organization closer to your customers, building intuition and empathy for your customers. And ultimately, that's where the next creative leaps and innovations from your teams are going to come from. It's from having that intuition and empathy. And so this is what we mean by the full data-driven opportunity and why we're so excited about these themes and about the conference. And we're going to have a really great couple of days here. It's going to be so much fun. We've got amazing speakers lined up for you. And we're going to be diving into a lot of different topics, but hopefully we can see that ultimately these are some of the key things we want to help you accomplish. And we're looking forward to a couple days. So thank you very much. So I've got a great lineup for you. And so now I want to shift gears a little bit, and we're going to talk about the product and some updates and announcements. And to help me do that, I want to introduce Babak Pahlavan. Babak joined our team just under a year ago. He is our Director of Product Management. He was formerly the CEO of CleverSense, which was acquired by Google a couple years ago. He's been named on Forbes' 30 Under 30 in technology. And he's known for just being amazing at creating really intuitive user experiences. We're really excited to have him on the team, and he's going to walk us through some announcements. So welcome, Babak Pahlavan.
Well done. Awesome.
Welcome.
All right, thank you.
Go for it.
All right. All right. So, good morning, everyone. Good morning. All right. So, we're still awake. So, good morning to people in the audience and also to our friends on live stream. We have a jam-packed session for you guys. And by the time I'm done, you'll see why this session is named after riding the rocket. So, if you switch back on the slides, we can just get going. Okay, so let's see. So as Paul mentioned, it's a new era that we live in. It's the era of data-driven opportunities. It's our job, the way we think about this, is to build tools, technologies, and products that would actually enable you to tap into those opportunities. That's how we think about our jobs going forward. So we are thinking about this under the framework of access, empower, and act. And today we're here to walk you through a series of announcements that would actually get us further on all of those three areas. By the way, I'm missing my screens here. I don't know if they're turned on or if they're about to be turned on or what. So we're going to get going. Technical difficulties. It's all good. So as I'm jumping into this, I wanted to set this stage on the two key focus areas going forward for us: enterprise and mobile. One of the best things about GA is that we have a huge community of users that are vocal. You guys constantly talk to us. We have a lot of great partners as well. That you're all ultimately the users of our product and the platform that we build. We've heard you loud and clear. You wanted us to focus more on the enterprise type features and technologies, as well as focusing on mobile related areas, cross-device, apps, and whatnot. So I'm here to confirm today that these are now both part of our core strategies. And going forward, we are going to put a lot of emphasis on enterprise and mobile and cross-device. So with that framework in mind, let's just get started. So as you know, we've been busy. In fact, we've been very busy. Thus far, we've had a huge number of launches in 2013 alone. In fact, we've had 70 plus launches. For a B2B product, we understand that's quite a bit. However, the reason for that is, as Paul was mentioning, digital world is changing rapidly. And it's our job, the way we see it, is to help you overcome the challenges of these changes. So we're not slowing down. In fact, we're accelerating. We're accelerating even further to meet these challenges. So sit tight, because today we're going to go through 14 announcements. Yes. Wait, let's just get through it first, and then clap. So, okay. To help me explain this, we've come up with a fictitious company. We're just going to call them Games Direct. These guys are facing the same type of challenges that a lot of you guys face. They're a multinational premium customer. They're an e-commerce site. They actually sell console video games and also games on smartphones. In fact, they have 2 new games that are coming out for the holiday season. Let's just call the console game Grand Purchase Auto and the other one Angry Turtles. That's an app that's coming out. So they're getting ready for those sales. Rightly so, they think their audience is 25 to 35-year-old males, and they want to see that in data. They want to see if they can confirm that. And last but not least, they have hundreds of employees, like many of you guys, and they want to give proper access to all these new websites that they're launching to the right set of employees. So let's see how we can help them overcome these challenges. First, access. We want to make sure all the people in your organization have access to all the data that surrounds your business. That's our objective here. Back to Games Direct. So what are the challenges that they're facing on their access? So as we said, they're launching brand new websites. They have a lot of tagging issues. They have to tag these new set of properties. Their users are reaching them from all kinds of devices. So they need a powerful cross-device measurement platform. They also have, as we said, they have a lot of internal employees that are data fluent, or as we like to believe. They're using analytics every day. So they want to have an easy way to give them the proper access as we go forward. So first off, tagging. We have this little product called Google Tag Manager, GTM. The purpose of GTM, Google Tag Manager, is to help you deploy dynamic tags across all of your properties without touching the HTML. That's the purpose of GTM. It's a great product and it's very easy to use, and it's been doing well. We started out in October of last year. We were serving 0 hits per day. Today we're serving over 500 million hits per day. This has been a pretty good progress for a product that we launched barely a year ago. And huge kudos to the engineering team who actually made it all possible. But when we launched the product, it was mostly web focused, and we had a lot of focus on web and mobile web. Up until about a month ago, when we launched GTM for native apps. With GTM for native apps, now you can take care of the tagging of your actual apps from a server side. Gone the days that if you forgot to tag something, you would have to recompile the app, the new tag, resubmit it to the store, and then wait for data to flow in. With GTM for native apps, now you have an ability to just ship your app, and then as long as you have GTM deployed, you can take care of your tagging from server side. In fact, we're using that inside our own GA app. Russ might touch on this a little bit in his session, but it's a very good demonstration of our own technologies that are being used by ourselves. But then GTM, as powerful as it is, couldn't do a bunch of things. The most important one that you guys talked to us a lot about was tracking different events that are happening on the page automatically. Before, up until now, if you want to track some form submissions with some button clicks and whatnot, you still have to deploy some tags. You can manage them from server side, but you couldn't actually do the event tracking dynamically. So that brings me to our announcement number 1. As of today, we're announcing auto event tracking for GTM. Yes, there we go. Huge kudos to the engineering team and the product team. The purpose of this is to enable you to track events without touching the HTML. It's business as usual for Google Tag Manager, but now all of a sudden you can actually track all kinds of different events down to the DOM object of the page itself, all dynamically and programmatically from the interface of Google Tag Manager. This makes GTM a lot more well-rounded and a lot more complete. But then so Games Direct loves this. I'm sure you guys love it too. But ultimately, for somebody like Games Direct to adopt GTM, they wanted this to be enterprise class. They wanted this to offer some sort of SLA, the same type of SLA, for example, that we offer with GA Premium. Which then brings me to our announcement number 2. We're announcing an enterprise class SLA for GTM. Going forward, in the next few weeks, yes, 3 people are excited in the audience. So going forward, the GTM is going to be enterprise class. The adoption that we've seen by the product, it's been tremendous. But now with SLA offering that we are announcing for Google Tag Manager, a lot of our large organizations, a lot of large partners that we have can start adopting this. And this is rolling out in Q4. So make sure you reach out to your account managers for GA Premium. We can talk to you about this. So that wraps up the tagging problems. But now let's talk about cross-device measurement. So as Paul mentioned, we live in super interesting times. It's this adoption of internet-connected devices that are not tablets and PCs, that are not laptops and PCs, is catching everyone by somewhat of a surprise. The internet-connected devices are just exploding, and they're being used massively by consumers. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Universal Analytics for those of you that are not quite familiar with it. So this is the brand new measurement protocol that we announced last year at the summit. And the purpose of this is to move the measurement protocol from browser-based to server-side. More specifically, in analytics, in the normal analytics that a lot of you guys are using, ultimately when somebody visits your website or a mobile app or mobile web, a session gets created and the browser drops a cookie and then you send it back to a server and then we give you a session-based and somewhat of a user-based view of the world. But then ultimately there's no easy way to see if it was the same user who actually saw your website on their mobile phone and who was also the same person who saw it on desktop. With Universal Analytics, we're changing all of that. We're now allowing you guys to send back a user ID for every hit that hits our server. And because we're moving the measurement side to the server side, we can now stitch it all together and we can give you a user-centric view of the world. This is an important topic, and it was very well received since the announcement last year. Make sure you attend Shagnik's session tomorrow. He's going to go in depth on a lot of the best practices around this topic. His session is actually pretty awesome. The opening line is, I'm a big fan of that. But then, so let's talk about the challenge here. It was a brand new technology, and then we were asking all of you guys to create a new set of properties to use Universal Analytics to take advantage of the cross-device. A lot of you guys had a lot of reservations. You said, well, I want to use my existing properties. I've invested so much into my existing Google Analytics account. I want to use my existing stuff. You're asking me to create a new thing. I can see the trade-off because I want to take advantage of cross-device, but it still is tough. We agree with you. We thought we could do better. So today we're announcing a brand new upgrade tool that allows you to upgrade your existing properties to Universal Analytics to take advantage of the cross-device. This is our announcement number 3. It's rolling out pretty soon. And it would enable you to take advantage of the cross-device measurement protocols that we're offering using your existing properties. This is going to make life a lot easier. So we've done the tagging piece. We've done our cross-device. But then now, if you're like Games Direct, holiday season is coming up. You're about to launch new properties. And then you want to give access to your employees to all of these properties. How would you do that? But before we go there, I want to talk about something pretty interesting that our friends on AdWords are launching as of today. For somebody like Games Direct, who's very much invested in cross-device, they're also running a lot of AdWords campaigns. The challenge is that today, a lot of people, when they do the research on their mobile phones, they do it on tablet a little bit, they may go home and then finally go directly to somebody's website to make the purchase. So a lot of these AdWords conversions are sort of leaked. You couldn't see that, right? It was very difficult to see that. People just show up on your site and they just buy stuff. AdWords is coincidentally today also they're announcing something pretty awesome. They're announcing a conversion estimator right in the UI of AdWords that would allow you to catch these leaked conversions. The best thing about it is that you don't have to do you don't have to have any changes. As long as you're using the conversion tags of AdWords on all of your properties, this new tool that they're announcing allows you to capture all the conversions that are happening across device. So with Universal Analytics, we help you with general cross-device measurements. With this new announcement out of AdWords, now they can actually, with high level of accuracy, estimate the conversions that are happening due to AdWords across all of your properties. So now back to the issue of giving access to your internal employees. So this brings me to our announcement number 4. We've launched the admin UI, and all of you guys have seen this already. It's a pretty slick, pretty easy to use system that would allow you to give to manage your accounts and also give access to the proper employees. But somebody like Games Direct, as we said, they have hundreds of employees. If they're launching a brand new website, somebody has to sit down and do minimum of 100 clicks in order to give access to all of the employees. That's kind of tough. So we've heard a consistent feedback that we need to do better than this. We looked around, we realized we're Google, we're darn good at APIs. So why don't we just build an API and give you guys programmatic access to take care of this? So, and that is the announcement, by the way. So as of today, we're announcing our account management and also user access APIs that will give you back programmatic control. This will make life a lot easier for a lot of our big customers. So in summary, we've talked about 3 major areas under access. GTM now supports native apps. It actually supports now auto event tracking. You don't need to change your websites to deploy new tags to measure different objects that are on the page. And now it's enterprise class. We're rolling out an SLA for it that's going to be tied to GA Premium. Furthermore, we announced a new upgrade tool for Universal Analytics to make it easier to use your existing properties to do cross-device measurements. And now we also announced a new management user access APIs to give you guys programmatic control. So we do all of this. We're done with our taggings. But then let's talk about Empower. We want to empower you to better analyze your data. That's the whole point of tagging and collecting data. You need to be able to analyze your data more easily. So let's go back to our Games Direct example. So they want to have an easier overview of their business. It'd be nice to just look at the state of the business as a whole under one roof. They also want to have an easier way of segmenting the data, as well as it'd be awesome if they could actually have demographic information of their users. And last but not least, just like a lot of you guys have been asking us for session level data and access to the raw data to do even more granular analysis. So let's see what we're going to do about that. So when practitioners like Avinash and Justin Cucini, they talk about measurements, they usually talk about it under the framework of ABC, acquisition behavior and conversions. So up until now, inside the product, you could certainly do that. You would have to go through multiple different areas of the product. You would have to go to the goals section, the pages section, and traffic sources in order to get a holistic view of your ABCs. We thought we could do better than this. What if we just actually could show you A's and B's and C's under one roof? This is our announcement number 5. We are rolling out a brand new acquisition overview page that, lo and behold, it's going to have 3 columns: acquisition, behavior, and conversions. And all of that is actually categorized by channels automatically. You can also create your own channels, custom channels. And Nikhil tomorrow is going to have a session on this. But in particular, this makes it super easy now. You can actually look at the state of your business in a very easy to use but yet powerful and an interactive report. So this is something that we've worked quite a bit on. I mean, this has been in progress for quite some time. It's already out to 50% of our users, and it's going to get rolled out to 100% over the next few weeks. So that's sort of the high-level look of your analytics. But then, do you want to drill deeper? If you're Games Direct, you want to actually go drill deeper. One of the best things about GA is the power of segmentation. And as you know, we have user segmentation, also session segmentation. This is something that it's highly used by a lot of our power users. The current UI the current UI is good, but a lot of our more sophisticated users end up using that. But referencing back to a lot of the stuff that Paul was talking about, we want to democratize access to all these technologies to everybody inside your organizations. So we thought we could do better. We thought we could simplify this further. So this is our announcement number 6. We are in fact launching a brand new unified segments tool. This is a super easy drag and drop style UI on top of pretty much all the reports inside GA that would allow you to segment the data the way you want it. This is actually pretty fun to use. I encourage everyone to start just playing around with this. You'll see how intuitive and how easy it is to use to do segmentation now. It comes with a lot of built-in segments, but you can, of course, build your own custom segments as well. So that allows you to drill deeper. But then the one thing that's been missing from this is, what if you wanted to look at the demographic of your users? What if you wanted to say, okay, well, are they male or female? Like, what are their interests? What's the age range of my users? So this is something that I'm personally pretty excited about it. Not that I wasn't excited about the other ones. But this one is pretty awesome as well. This is our announcement number 7. We're announcing a dedicated audience report that would allow you now to get a good picture of the demographic information of your users. This is a pretty simple setup. When you go into the system, it walks you through how to deploy dc.js on your properties, and soon after you'll see demographic information flowing through the system as well. This is especially powerful because now it gives you not only age range, but as well as gender, but also now it gives you the long list of interests that your users have based on the powerful classifier that Google Display Network has been working on for years. So this is something that that we believe is going to change the way analytics is being used because we're now bringing in more data to better empower you. But then we didn't want to stop there. We wanted to make sure this is a first-class entity, and all of GA could be sliced and diced now with demographic information. So we built a brand new section inside the unified segments that then allows you to now analyze your entire data set based on in demographic information. You don't need to go to a specific just report, just look at demographic. For somebody like Games Direct, they can just come in and any report they're looking at, they can just go look at it and say, okay, how is the behavior of my 25 to 44-year-olds that are interested in video games and are male? They can now do that with this new section. That was our announcement number 8. So far so good. Is everyone awake? What's going on? We're almost halfway through. There we go. Good. It gets more interesting. I'll promise you that. Or catch me and talk to me afterwards if it doesn't. So we're gathering a lot of data now. This is, again, I'm going to reference back to Paul's point. It's a data-driven opportunity that we're all tapping into. So now you guys are set up with cross-device. There's audience information flowing. There's a ton of raw data now that you guys are collecting using Google Analytics, and it's a ton. But there are nuggets of information. There's a lot of information that could be hidden there that you want to have better access. So this raw data, it's going to it's going to data centers. Okay, that's 1956. Not that data center. Today looks more like this actually. But there is this question that whether you could have access to this raw data, but not just because you want to have access to it, it's because you want to run queries on this. A lot of you guys have asked us, I want to run SQL queries on this to actually do the analysis the way I want it. And then we looked around, we realized, well, this, our system is not quite SQL-based. I mean, the scale that GA has, the way the system is set up is not SQL-based. But let's see if we can actually find a solution for this. So we looked into our own backyard, and we found out that our cloud team has this amazing product called BigQuery. The purpose of BigQuery is to ultimately ingest a ton of data. It scales till, I don't know how much it scales. What I've been told is infinity, but no one has tested it yet to that level. But it allows you to ingest a lot of third-party data and then gives you a way to actually query it like normal SQL language. And also, the other thing that's good about it is that it already has a lot of hooks into a lot of Google applications as well as external applications. So if you wanted to have access to raw data, the question was, wouldn't it be awesome if you could natively integrate GA into that system? And of course, the answer is yes, that would be awesome. So this is our announcement number 9. So we're announcing, great. Awesome. So, yes, people are still awake. So we are, let's see, okay. This is not awake. This takes like 10 clicks for me to go to the next slide. So, so now we're announcing availability of the integration between GA and BigQuery. You can now export your session level hits level data to BigQuery and then run SQL queries on them. And the icing on the cake, if that doesn't enthuse you guys to start using this, is that this is a feature exclusive for our GA Premium customers. And to further encourage you guys to use this, we worked a lot on this for the past few months, is that we're also announcing a $500 monthly credit for our premium customers to start using this. So this is our BigQuery integration, which would then allow you guys to get into the details and run the queries the way you want it. Clancy has a whole session on this tomorrow. Make sure you come and attend that one if you want to learn more about this. So we talked about empowering you to better analyze your data. We announced the new acquisition overview that now gives you an ABC view of the world, acquisition behavior conversions. We talked about the new unified segments. We also talked about the new audience data that's becoming available inside GA, as well as the availability of audience data inside unified segments. And last but certainly not least was the integration between BigQuery and GA. So you do all of this, you do your tagging, your setup across device, you have a lot of great reports, you have a lot of great systems to help you analyze that data. But then to do what? I mean, ultimately it's about acting. Ultimately it's about taking an action on all of that analysis that you've done, right? It's only logical, right? So to that end, back to Games Direct. I'm going to drag these guys along with me on every section of these slides. Ultimately, somebody like them, the holiday season is coming up. First and foremost, they want to have a way to reach out to the high potential customers to bring them back to the site and help them buy something. They're also running display campaigns. That would be awesome if they could see the impact of the display campaigns on the rest of their analytics. And also, last but not least, they're launching a brand new app, right? So they want to see if they run campaigns for that app, what is the effect of that, and how the campaign is rolling out, so if they can act on the sequencing of the data as it's flowing through the system as well. So let's see what we can do to address these challenges. First off, this has to work. Second off, so let's talk about the path to purchase. This is a typical purchase funnel. This is the data that Forrester published a while back, and one of the things that it shows is that on average for an e-commerce site, a small percentage of your visitors end up converting. In fact, it's quite interesting. I mean, it's only like by the time all is said and done, like almost 96% of the traffic is lost. Like about 4% on average are converting. So, but this is the data opportunity side of the story. Forrester also talked about this other side of it. If you could have a way to reach out to folks who added something to the shopping cart but they abandoned it, if you can bring them back, they're 8 times more likely to buy something from you. Even better than that, if you can identify the folks who not only added something to the shopping cart, but they also began to check out, but they didn't quite finish the transaction. They're 17 times more likely to convert. This is staggering. Any like e-commerce or any business should know how to reach their own audience and put the right products in front of them. So in order to act on your data, one of the ways that GA enables you is GA remarketing. The purpose of that is to identify these users. You have a very powerful UI that allows you now to segment your users, look at them, build the right list, find those guys that are in your audience, that are in your lineup site, that are, in case of Games Direct, that are male 25 to 34-year-olds, and add them into the shopping cart. And then remarket to them, bring them back to your site. It increases the probability of them buying something from you and converting by a huge percentage. Dan Stone is going to have an in-depth session on this tomorrow. Make sure you come and attend that one, because we're going to talk about also something along the lines of dynamic remarketing, and a huge step forward in that direction as well. That will allow you to now dynamically change the products you're putting in front of people based on their interest. So that's on that front. So that's bringing back your existing sort of high potential users to buy something. But then if you're like Games Direct, and most of us are running display campaigns. And there are a lot of good tools that will allow you to see how the display campaign is doing on its own. But it'd be awesome if you could see the impact of that on your analytics. Which brings me to our announcement number 10. We're announcing a pilot of DoubleClick Campaign Manager, formerly known as DFA, with GA. This is, yes. This is our GA team clapping, by the way. No, I'm kidding. A lot of you guys actually love it. So this now allows you to look at the view through, the impressions and also click-throughs right side by side next to your analytics data. It allows you to see the impact of the display campaign that you ran on your overall business as analytics is measuring it for you. But we didn't want to stop there. The pilot also talks about something else as well. Attribution, as Paul talked about, is a hugely important area. And it's a huge investment area for us. And in fact, Bill Key is going to go very much in depth on the topic of attribution today. But then it would be awesome to talk about, again, the impact of display on the path to purchase as attribution engine is looking at it. So we're announcing the inclusion of DCM data, display data, with our MCF, with multi-channel funnels. Specifically, this is powerful when you use data-driven attribution modeling. We announced data-driven attribution modeling for our GA Premium customers. And as you know, that system is only powerful when it has enough data. This pilot that we're announcing today is going to enable you guys to now import the DCM data inside MCF, a lot of acronyms, inside multi-channel funnels, to now unleash data-driven and other models that we offer on top of it. This makes things a lot more powerful. So that's the pilot that we're announcing today. But then if you're like Games Direct, so that's great. You're running display campaigns, but also you have this app coming out. You're launching campaigns on that, and you also want to have a visibility over how well the app campaign is doing. That's also critical to know too. We all know it's in an app world that we all live in right now. So it's always been difficult when you run campaigns, especially I myself. I came from a lot of the work that we were doing before was around mobile, and you'd be blind practically. You just see new users showing up because of the campaign you ran, and you couldn't quite tell. Today we're announcing something pretty exciting to help solve those challenges. This is our announcement number 12. We're announcing Google Play and GA integration, as well as, so this is about Google Play data inside GA, as well as GA data inside Play dashboard. This now gives you visibility over the full conversion path when you run a campaign. Now you can see campaign clicks, as well as like Play Store views that ultimately result into installs and net new users. This is something pretty awesome. This is now enabling you to look at something you just couldn't see before. This is a special integration between GA and Play Store, and we ourselves are using this again for our own app. I also wanted to show a screenshot of what this looks like. I mean, normally speaking, you have a lot of organic traffic that would drive into a Play Store that would ultimately get you guys net new users. But now you can actually see the impact of the campaigns that you ran and the flow of that. This will give you brand new visibility that wasn't possible before. So make sure you ask us about this. We're going to talk about this tomorrow as well, and this is pretty exciting. So to wrap it up, so we talked about enabling you guys to act on your data. So we have an ability that you guys should all take advantage of, which is around the remarketing, bringing back the right set of users to your websites that are high potential buyers. You can do that with GA remarketing. We also talked about the pilot that we're running around enabling display, DCM data to be now integrated inside GA. And now as well as the Play integration with GA that will give you visibility over the app campaigns that you run. So far so good. There we go. but actually,
Time out. So time out. Babak, you've got 70 announcements or launches we did this year. You just launched 12 new things or made 12 announcements in the last 30 minutes. These poor people, they're here trying to keep up. These guys are tweeting, and these guys are posting over there. They can't keep up. So my team can't even keep up. How are we supposed to keep up with all this stuff?
so we have two options. Either we can revert this whole thing back and forget about it, or if you let me launch 2 more things or announce 2 more things, I think we can address it. Just 2 more.
Wait, you're going to launch more to solve the launch problem?
Yes, it's meta, but I think we can address it.
All right.
It's going to be good.
I'll be right over here.
Thank you. Yeah. So you're right. That's a lot. Just 35 minutes. We've gone through 12. But let's talk about announcement number 13. Let's just keep going. So, but jokes aside, it is true. The world is changing rapidly, and we're accelerating the product development and engineering efforts to meet those challenges. But we have to help the rest of the world to keep up. We ourselves need to keep up internally. So we're launching something pretty unique today. This is GA Academy. These are real online courses taught by our top education team. These are real MOOCs, for those of you guys that are familiar with that acronym. These are massive open online courses. We're leveraging Google Hangout technologies. The first course is launching mid-October, and we're expecting thousands of people from around the world to participate in these courses and interact with us. These are high quality. We have high quality content already set up, and we want to help you and your organization to again learn about analytics, best practices, and also all the new features that we're launching. But we didn't want to just stop there. I mean, these are real courses. But what if you somehow don't have the time to attend the October course? Do you want to but we're rolling out features no matter what, right? So we're also announcing the in-product help videos. Every single major feature inside GA going forward is going to have an instructional video right inside the product. These are actually pretty fun videos. I've watched probably like, 70% of them. We produce this internally. We have an amazing team that puts a lot of energy into showcasing different, not only the features, but also best practices. We encourage all of you guys to start, as you play around with the product, first thing you do, you should just look at the videos and just get to know it. If anything, it would actually make it more exciting for you guys to use different features of analytics. So that was a ride on a rocket. I did say that at the beginning, right? So let's just wrap it all up. Let's just go through the items that we touched on. We talked about the framework of access, empower, and action. Under access, we mentioned the improvements we're making on GTM, Google Tag Manager. We talked about GTM being now friendly to native apps. We now do auto event tracking, and now we're rolling out also an SLA for GTM to make it enterprise class. Universal Analytics is here to help you with cross-device measurements. We're rolling out an upgrade tool so that you can use your existing properties with Universal Analytics. We also then, to further help your organizations to have more programmatic way of assigning the right access levels to your employees, we're rolling out APIs so you can take the control of your analytics accounts. We mentioned that we want to empower you to better analyze your data. So we have a brand new acquisition overview. We talked about the new unified segments. We're now enabling audience reporting and audience data inside GA. And we're also giving you guys the power to analyze the raw session level data using BigQuery. And to help all of us, in fact, to keep up with all the changes that we're talking about, we also announced GA Academy, real online courses taught by our education team every month, as well as the in-product help videos. But then ultimately, we want to help you guys to act on this data. So GA remarketing helps you bring back the high potential users to your sites. And now with the GA and DCM pilot that we're announcing today, you can now better see the impact of the display campaigns you're running. And last but not least was the announcement around Play Store and GA integration that would allow you now to keep track of the campaigns that you run for your native apps. Again, we are here to actually help you guys succeed in your businesses. So that being said, so that wasn't too bad, was it? I think we all kept up okay, so I see people nodding, so far so good. Thank you so much for your time. So please find us on, the majority of our team is here. We're happy to talk to you guys. We want to get to know you guys. And I'm personally looking forward to meeting every single one of you. Thank you and have a great conference.
Thank you. Great job. Yeah. So thanks everyone. Thank you, Babak. That was awesome. 14 announcements, really exciting. I especially do want to highlight the Academy launch coming up. This is really exciting. For you that have large organizations, they're starting with a digital analytics fundamentals course. And look for that announcement in just about a week to sign up and start that course. That'll be coming out very soon, and we're really excited about that. We've got a huge day for you, great presentations coming. I do want to thank everyone that's tuned in via our live stream. This will now conclude the live stream part of this event. And it's been really a lot of fun. It's made history for analytics to our first time doing this. So we're excited about that. And thank you very much for joining via live stream. And we'll break now, and we'll be back starting sharp at 11. So we'll have a good break. Thanks, everyone.